Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Hilaal Live. My name is Faraz Patel. I'd like to thank you, the viewer, for staying with us, and of course, my colleague Luqman Shadrack for taking you through that first hour of the show. Now, yesterday, the National Assembly confirmed Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane's removal from office, but it is now up to President Cyril Ramaphosa to ratify her removal. However, some in the opposition vowed to fight against her impeachment in court. Yesterday, 318 members of the National Assembly voted in support of Mkhwebane's removal, with just 43 voting against her impeachment. The resolution of the National Assembly will now be referred to the President for Mkhwebane's removal in accordance with the provisions of the Section 194 of the Constitution. Joining us now to discuss this is Accountability Now's Advocate Paul Hoffman. Advocate Hoffman, good day, and thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live.
Good day, Faraz, and good day to your viewers as well.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. Advocate Hoffman, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about a very same thing. I don't think you needed to look into a glass bowl to predict that she was probably on her way out. The resistance towards that happening, I mean, I watched yesterday's proceedings in the National Assembly, and there were quite a few that were fervent that she still remain as the public protector, even though her term ends in practically a few weeks' time.
Yes, that desire to cling to office, which is shared by a small minority in Parliament, but is fervent, as you say, fervently embraced by Advocate Mkhwebane herself, is just a desire to qualify for the pension and gratuity benefits that come with being the incumbent in the office of the public protector. And the fact that the vote went the way that it went means that she has lost her pension benefits and her entitlement to a gratuity. So that is a small contribution towards the immeasurable damage that she has done, the harm that has been caused not only to the reputation of the Office of the Public Protector, but also to the public purse in terms of adverse costs awards running to estimated 160 million rands, plus the cost of running the inquiry into her fitness for office, another 30 million rands. So it has been an expensive failure, and it has been a failure that Accountability Now has been warning against since January 2017, when she was 2 months into her term of office. It became clear to us that she was not honest and that she was not competent either.
I remember, Advocate Hoffman, I mean, we had this conversation a few weeks ago when you said that, I mean, since January 2017, Accountability Now just saw that, look, she was just not capable to be the public protector and hold such a high office in a Chapter 9 institute. When you look at those 6 years, of course, the 1 year where she was suspended. So let's look at it from those 5 years that she was in office as the public protector. I mean, there were more doubts than, thumbs up for her, wasn't there?
Yes, certainly, within the first year, there was already a finding by the Constitutional Court, which is the highest court in the land, that she had lied on oath in the papers that she had filed in the review proceedings that were brought in that very same matter that we had complained about earlier in 2017. So you can't possibly ignore a finding by the highest court that an official like the public protector, who is meant to be a fit and proper person of integrity and honesty and uprightness, has lied on oath in order to protect the skullduggery, keep out of view the skullduggery in which she was involved, where a complaint that was against the state security agency suddenly turned into the opportunity to tell Absa Bank to pay billions of rands back to the state from the Absa lifeboats of the apartheid era, and the opportunity to repurpose the Reserve Bank, which has really got nothing to do with the work of the public protector. Those facts, which were out there right from the outset of her tenure of office, ought to have alerted Parliament to the fact that this needed urgent attention. It took Parliament years to respond, and eventually, after almost a year of hearings, to deal with the matter in the way that it needed to be dealt with, and has led to the impeachment. And the president now must remove her from office. He must fire her. He's got no more discretion in the matter. The wording of Section 194 makes it very clear that once Parliament has voted to impeach the public protector, the president must dismiss her.
Advocate Hoffman, is it semantics that's at play here? And the reason why I ask this is that she's got just a few weeks left till her term is done. And this removal, of course, just probably cements the fact that she will not be serving as a public protector anymore of South Africa. But then you go back to the first part of the question I asked you with, the benefits that she may have. So is this a removal of that far-reaching consequences where she is completely cut off from the benefits that she would have post her duty as the public protector?
Yes, in order to qualify for the pension, and in order to qualify for the 10 million rand gratuity, she has to be a public protector in good standing at the time of the termination of her 7 years in office, which would have been in October this year, but now is going to happen imminently. The president must get on and fire her.
Advocate Hoffman, the president does have the final say. I'm going to use this in inverted commas, an unlikely ally in President Ramaphosa, because it was clear both she and him, with regards to many things in the Constitution and so much more, just did not see eye to eye. Surely he doesn't give her a second chance, does he?
No, he doesn't have the right to give her a second chance. The wording of the section, let me read it out to you so that we are not against each other. Once there's been this vote and the necessary majority has been obtained, which has happened already, Section 194(3) of the Constitution says the president may suspend, which he did, and must remove a person from office upon adoption by the Assembly of the resolution calling for that person's removal. So the resolution has been passed calling for her removal, and he must remove her from office. He's got no discretion, he's got no leeway. He must remove her, and that is what he will do.
So it's basically a cherry on the top for all that has happened.
Yeah.
Advocate Hoffman, to wrap up this conversation, the next incoming public protector, if all goes according to her ways, Advocate Koleka, we spoke a few weeks ago again, and you're not convinced by her being somebody who can take this Chapter 9 institution.
You see, a fit and proper person for the job of public protector, in fact, for any senior job in the Chapter 9 institutions, must be a person who is able to act without fear, favor, or prejudice, which is just a lawyer's way of saying that it must be an independent person, not fearing the powerful, not favoring the friendly, and not prejudicing the public. And in order to get into that mindset, you need to be a person, your own person, rather than the amanuensis of the legislature or of the executive branch of government. And the problem with the Baleka candidacy is that she is a person who has worked both in the National Prosecuting Authority and in the executive branch of government for a long time, and has already shown herself to be executive-minded in her approach to the work of the public protector, instead of being fiercely independent. So there are a lot of people who are critical of her findings in the Pala matter, and feel that she could, instead of passing the buck to other agencies, she could have grasped the nettle and dealt with the matter more proactively and less favorably to the president. But of course, if you're an acting public protector and you know that the person who's going to be appointing you, if your candidacy for public protector is successful, you really are having your independence tested in a big way. If as an acting public protector, you are prepared to stick your neck out and say, well, the president is in breach of the code of executive ethics. He couldn't have a moonlight job as a buffalo farmer. And she has found differently on that, which creates the impression that she is more likely to be executive-minded or to make decisions that do not necessarily favor the public that she is meant to be protecting, but do favor the executive for whom she has worked for her entire career in various capacities.
Advocate Paul Hoffman, thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live. Advocate Hoffman, thank you again for joining us here on Hilaal Live.
Thank you for the opportunity.
It's always a pleasure to have you, Advocate Paul Hoffman from Accountability Now. So all that stopping Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane from potentially being shown the door, and it's a given that it must happen, is President Cyril Ramaphosa signing and sealing her faith. After the break, I speak to Mustafa Saidi. We saw this past week in a tragic earthquake that happened in Morocco. We're going to be talking to him about that, and of course, just the after effects Morocco and its people are going through. Do stay tuned to Hilaal Live.